Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Today, I'm going to look at the first Yama. Yamas are one of the 8 limbs of yoga, and they're attitudes or behaviors. And the first of those is Ahimsa, which is non-harming. And the medical cautionary note to do no harm is basically the principle of Ahimsa. And I'm going to begin by reading a short poem by Phyllis Webb, the late Phyllis Webb, who actually was one of the people who started the Ideas program, and she was one of Canada's most brilliant poets. I did a book on Canadian women in peace, I think in part because I lived on an ashram, and I became involved in the anti-war movement and was arrested for nonviolent civil disobedience. And when I did my book, the epigraph to the book was this beautiful poem. Still there are wars and crimes of war. War crimes, war crimes, war cries, cries, war. War cries, cries, cry, crimes, cry. Crimes, cry, cries, cries, cry. War cries, war crimes, crimes, crime. Cries, war. Cries, war, warm cries, warm cries. Cries, cries. Still there are war. War. Still, warm cries. Still warm cries. Cries, war cries. There are still. And I'm just going to read also just very briefly from Desikachar, who is a very well-known yogi who wrote The Heart of Yoga. And he talks about ahimsa, the word ahimsa meaning injustice or cruelty. But ahimsa is more than simply the absence of himsa. Ahimsa is more than just a lack of violence. It means kindness, friendliness, and thoughtful consideration of other people and things. We must exercise judgment when thinking about ahimsa. It does not necessarily imply that we should not eat meat or fish or that we should not defend ourselves. It simply means that we must always behave with consideration and attention to others. And finally, there's a beautiful reminder from the Sufi tradition that we must pass through 3 gates. Our words must pass through 3 gates before we speak them. And the 3 gates are, is it true, is it kind, and is it necessary? So these are a few of the thoughts that I have been ruminating on and thinking about our class today. And we're just going to begin feeling a sense of, we're going to work on feeling a sense of integration in our being from the outer world to the inner world, that sense of that poem, that beautiful poem about war cries and war crimes, about what's happening in the outer world. And then thinking about ahimsa is inflected in our inner life in relation to our thoughts and words and deeds. So we're just going to stand in Tadasana and feel our bodies centering themselves, grounding themselves into the mat. We're going to reach our arms up and look up, and then we're just going to open our arms out and down. And when we're moving our shoulders, we're really feeling our wings open up as we look up and down. And once again, we're going to do this one more time, just moving our arms and our shoulders. And then we're going to widen our legs out, and we're going to bring our arms up and then turn to the right and feel our body just fall over our right leg and swoop down to our left and up again in a very relaxing circle. back again. So we're moving in one direction and then the other. And we're beginning to feel the pleasure in our body, the sensed pleasure of movement in our body, and the breath that comes as we swoop. And you can interpret this movement however you like. And let's exhale as we go down, and then inhale as we come up, just moving gently. Okay, and we're going to stand at the front of our mat now and feel the energy moving down into the ground through our feet, and feel our, I better adjust this a little bit. Feel our chest open to the ceiling as we come up. And as we exhale down, and we inhale to the halfway lift, and exhale down. Inhale the right leg back, right knee down, right arm up, both arms up, looking up. Exhale, frame the front foot. Bring your foot back into plank, and we're going to rest here for a moment and feel our arms, our hands should be underneath our shoulders, and we're going to feel the energy moving towards the back heels and a lovely diagonal line between our head, the tip of our head, and our heels. And now we're just going to go down knees, chest, chin, or you can go down in chaturanga if you like. Down, and then inhale into a baby cobra, and we're going to come back down to the ground. And we're going to put some weight into our hands and press into the ground, come up into a baby cobra, and then come down. And we're going to put, once again, weight into our hands, push up, inhale into an upward dog. And we're just going to rest here with our feet, the front of our feet on the ground. There should be no pressure in our lower back. And then we're going to turn our toes in and exhale into downward dog. And here I'm breathing and feeling the way our breath can integrate and relax and restore. Just inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Now we're going to raise the right leg up, pointing up, and step it forward. And we're just going to stay here in put our knee down, stay here in a low lunge, and come up with our arms over our head, looking up. Once again, our chest is reaching up towards the sun, wherever it is. And we're opening up again and putting our hands down. Now here, I think we'll just move our front foot into a pigeon. So we lift up our front foot or wiggle it over and just move it into either at a 45-degree angle to the front of the mat, or it's either if you put it down, you want to keep your foot flexed to protect your knee, and then you can just feel this lovely arch in your upper lumbar, and your foot is extended in the back, your front foot is flexed, and you can in fact go down if you like onto your elbows, and right down if you like onto your forearms if that's convenient for you. If it's not, just stay up like this, or you can go back into a child's pose if this is too much for you. But this is a lovely hip opener at the beginning, the front hip and the glutes on my right my right glutes are really getting a lovely stretch here. Plus, I like the way it allows me to really open my chest and inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And I'm going to go down one more time, just onto my forehead. And once again, feel that lovely stretch and opening. And inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling, and then back up. And then we're just going to bring that knee back and go back into a plank here. And rest here. We're going to lower down with chaturanga or knees, chest, chin, whatever feels good for you. And push up into an upward dog or a baby cobra, and then back into a downward dog. Breathing once more into our downward dog, feeling our breath move into our back body, our back ribs opening. We imagine them opening up with our breath. And once again, we're going to lift our left leg up and move it forward and put it into a pigeon pose. So at a 45 degrees or whatever degree feels comfortable for you. And once again, you can sit up on blocks here if you like, or the tips of your fingers. And you want to feel your belly button moving back towards your spine, taking those precious contents, all those beautiful bodily organs back towards your spine. So this you can also really feel your core working here. And you are breathing evenly, inhaling and exhaling, and you can lower down to your forearms. And once again, keep on breathing. Only do this as long as it's comfortable for you. It takes a little bit of getting used to. And then you can go down if you feel like it onto your forearms, and just rest here. Now, one of the really wonderful things about yoga is it works very powerfully when you don't do very much except stay in the pose, and you let gravity do some of the work. So there's a lovely passive part to yoga, which is just simply persevering, staying in the pose. Okay, now we can move our way back up, and we can then stretch our front foot to the back. And I think we'll just do a little cat and cow here and have a little rest and open up the back. So the cat is that Halloween cat with its back arched up, and the cow is when you open your chest up to the front and your back is as concave as you can make it. And we're going up and down, and we're inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And we're going to go back into a child's pose just for a moment. And we can stretch our arms out in front of us. And we can wiggle our torso if we like. Feel our body settling into the pose. We can stretch our fingers over towards the right and move our body, our torso over top of the right thigh. And then we can walk our hands over towards the left. And we can just rest here. And straight ahead, we can feel our energy moving in two directions. On the one hand, we're really grounded with our buttocks and our shins moving towards the ground, and our arms are moving out in another direction. Okay, so we're going to come back into a tabletop, and we're going to just extend our right leg out behind us, and we can flex our foot and feel the energy moving out our heel. We can feel our knee straightening, and then we can point our toe. We can point our heel, flex our foot, point our toe, flex our foot, point our toe, flex our foot. And if we feel like it, we can raise our opposite arm and just, rest here. There's no failing in yoga. Falling out of a pose is just a prompt to try and fall back in. And we're just going to balance here for a moment, and then put our hand down and our knee. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. We're going to raise our left leg up, and we're going to flex our foot, feel the energy moving at our heel and our head. We don't need to drop our head. You can look straight down at the floor, and then point our foot. Flex our heel, point our foot. Flex our heel, point our foot. You can do some circles if you like. And then you can raise your right arm up and press out through your heel and feel that beautiful energy in your body as you balance here. And once again, you'll feel your belly button moving up towards your spine. Then you can drop your hand down, your knee down, and go back into cat and cow for a moment, just to extend our spine and feel a bit of integration of that movement. Okay, now we're going to crawl down onto our belly here, and we're going to do a bit of locust work. So we're just going to bring our arms out by our sides. We can lay the backs of our hands on the ground, and we're going to put our forehead on the mat. And we're just going to lift up the right shoulder and then drop it down. Lift up the left shoulder and drop it down. The right shoulder and drop it down. The left shoulder, drop it. Both shoulders up now and drop them down. And this time when we raise our shoulders up, we're going to raise our heads up with it. So both shoulders up, and then our heads come with it. And then our chest opens up and our arms lift up beside us, stretching out like wings behind us. And then we're going to slowly lower down. We're going to do that one more time. We're just going to raise our upper body up, our arms, our shoulders, and our chest. We're going to rest here and breathe, inhaling and exhaling, working towards steadying our breath, feeling the power of our bodies to open to the morning. And then we're going to come down. And now we're going to work on our lower body. We're going to point our right foot, our right toes to the other side of the room. Then we're going to lift them up, lift up your right foot and leg. And then we're going to drop it down. We're going to point our left foot to the back of the room. And then we're going to lift up our leg and then drop it down. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Right leg up. and down. Left leg up and down. And now we're going to point both our feet and we're going to lift our shoulders up, our head, our arms, and then our legs in a beautiful curving locust, making sure you're not overstretching your lower back. We're going to rest here, and then we're going to come down. And this time we're going to lift up our right leg. We're going to put our hands underneath our shoulders, and we're going to lift up our right leg, and then just tip our body over towards the side, touching that right leg behind us to the floor, or wherever it goes. This is just a lovely little twist here. And then we're stretching our leg back and doing it on the other side, stretching our left leg back, bending at the knee, dropping the toe down towards the floor, and feeling a really lovely stretch. And back again. Now we're going to put our arms out in a stop sign or straight out at our side, and we're going to do the same thing so that this stretches our shoulders a bit. So once again, we're stretching our right foot out, bending the knee, dropping it down behind us, and feeling that opening in our shoulder. And we can just rest here for a moment. If it's comfortable, if it's not, just come out. But this is a lovely opening both in the shoulder and in the front of the body. And once again, stretch that leg out, and we'll rotate back to the ground and straighten out your arm, extend it out from the shoulder, and then you can push yourself up, bend that knee, drop it behind you, and just rest here for a moment, feeling the opening in the shoulder again. And now we're coming back. And we are going to just push our hands into the mat and push ourselves back into a child's pose again, very briefly, just resting here. And we can move our body. There's nothing wrong with just swaying and moving in yoga. It helps us integrate the movement. It helps us oil all of our joints. And it helps us feel the pleasure of our body and the way it's made in such complex ways to move and move us through life. And now we're just going to sit on our haunches here. Now I think what we'll do here is you can go and find blocks if you like. Oops, where are my blocks? My blocks have disappeared. There we go. So we've got blocks and we're sitting on our knees, and we're just going to rise up, and we can put our blocks beside our feet and extend our chests up and just rest here. We can just drop our hands behind our bodies, and we can slowly feel ourselves moving back as well as up. So our chest is moving up, our shoulders are open, we shouldn't hinge our head back. We should just feel our head and neck as an extension of our spine. And here we can drop back and hold on to our blocks and open up. Now, you may not do this, and that's okay. You can just hang suspended for a moment until you get tired, and then you can just come down and sit on your buttocks again. I'm just going to rest here and feel gravity helping me to arch up further. I'm really extending my collarbone to the ceiling and letting my hands fall down. Now, the object of this eventually is to touch your heels. So you could go and just touch your heels side to side if you like, but making sure that you're not overextending your lower back and that you're keeping your chest extended up. And now I'm just going to fold back into a child's pose here, just to give my limbs some extension. And resting here. And from here, we're going to stay on the ground and do a lizard, which is related slightly, somewhat to the pigeon, but we're just going to bring one knee forward, and we're going to extend our back leg back, putting our foot flat on the ground, and we're going to make a nice 45 degrees with our leg here, with our front leg, and we're going to descend down inside that front leg. You can, if you want to, you can bend that knee out, and you can come down as much as you want. This is just a lovely stretch and opener in our legs again, and there shouldn't be any pain in this. If there is, just come up and rest like this. Otherwise, you can come down onto your forearms, and this lizard pose. Feel once again the lovely opening in your inner groin and in your hip flexor. And we're going to come back. We'll just stretch our legs back into a plank here and rest here for a moment in a plank. Then we're going to lift our left leg up, bring it forward into a lunge with our back knee down, once again 45 degrees here. And we can open that, we can roll onto the outside of our front foot if we like, wiggling our back leg back, and come down onto our forearms into this lizard pose. And feel that opening where it matters. And we're going to come up now, bring our knee back into tabletop, and we can just curl our feet under and move into a downward dog. Now you may have to adjust your feet a little bit wider for your downward dog, and feel in the downward dog, you want to feel the wings of your shoulders. When you put your arms over your head like this, your shoulder blades automatically rotate out, and so you can roll your upper arms down, and that will help with your shoulder opening. And you can extend your neck out. Sometimes you feel a bit cramped in your neck, and you can feel your neck extending out. Okay, and we're going to raise our right leg up, bring it forward, bring our left leg forward. We're going to hang suspended in a forward fold, and then open up to the sky again and stand in Tadasana. And here we're just going to feel how our body is after some movement. And you're going to feel, imagine I said, how do you feel from 1 to 10 at the beginning of the class? And how do you feel 1 to 10 right now? I would say I felt 2.5 at the beginning of the class. Now I feel about 6.5. By the end of the class, I'm planning on feeling 10. Okay, so here we're going to just stand in Tadasana and then open our arms up and move our legs out so that they're a nice distance apart, and rotate our right leg out. And whenever I rotate my because I started in Iyengar, whenever I rotate my leg out, I always spread my toes. That's part of the movement of rotating my leg out, so that you have a very nice base in both the front and the back. Your back leg is on the diagonal, and you'll find the diagonal angle that suits you. And we're just going to feel this extension out, out, the movement out, moving out, out. Your arm is moving out, straight out as far as you can. That beautiful extension, hinging at the hip, and then dropping that arm down wherever it's comfortable, and then raising your opposite arm up. And here you want to feel, when you're moving out, you could try both arms out, and then you really get an extension in both ribs, sides of your ribs. And you can feel that extension, and then drop the arm down, and then up. You can look up if you like, or you can look down. You can look straight ahead. And once again, we're breathing, we're inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling, we're feeling both of our inner thighs rotating out, and we're feeling the weight balanced on our feet in the back, and the back foot onto the outer edge of our back foot, as well as our toe mounds and heels. And now we're going to just tip up, and we can raise our arms up and turn our foot in and lower our arms while we're turning our to the opposite direction. We can spread our toes and stretch out, 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 and then down and looking up. Breathing, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. Feeling that lovely integration breath, the breath commands, integrating the outer with the inner with the outer. And then up again, tilting up, and then back. Now, we're going to just wiggle our feet in a little bit, so that it's a bit of a narrow and lower our arms. And then we're going to turn towards the front of the mat. Just once again, our front foot facing the front of the mat, our back is on the diagonal. And we're just going to be here in pyramid pose. We're going to tip over once again with our hips, and straight over our leg. And you can clasp your hands, your forearms behind you in this pyramid pose, or you can put your palms together and slide them up your spine. I am not very good at this, but I'll give it a go. There. And feeling this as a very lovely balance. Our front leg, our right, in my case, my right leg is moving back. Oops. And oops. And now we're going to tilt up and move to the other side. And we're going to tip over again. You can hold on to your forearms. You can have your arms out in front of you if you like. And we're feeling that front hip drawing back as we ground our feet. And that helps with our balance as we rest here in this very strong pose of the pyramid. And once again, we're going to tip back up at the hips, turn our feet around, and move towards the other side. Now, I want you to get your blocks here, if you have them, and or you can do this facing a wall, and you can hold one block in each hand, or you can put them out in front of you on the floor, and we're just going to tip into from this pyramid pose. We're just going to tip into we're going to bend our front knee and reach for the blocks or the wall and lift our leg up into warrior three. Once again, this is another really powerful balance with the energy moving in many directions. It's moving down towards the ground in our arms, in our balancing foot, which is very strongly positioned. And we're pushing out with the back heel and feeling a line running from the tip top of our head to our heel. And we're just going to rest here for a moment, feeling the strength of the posture. And we're inhaling and exhaling here, trying to even out our breath. And we're also going to feel our belly button moving up towards our spine as we engage our core. And our core really helps us balance here. And once again, we're going to bend our front foot and reach our back foot back and let go of the blocks and stand up into pyramid, and we can even bend over one more time into pyramid pose and bow towards ourselves, having accomplished a good balancing pose. And then we're going to just turn around to the other side and do the other way. So we have our feet are not as wide as warrior two. They're narrower in pyramid. And we can put our blocks out in front of us and bend our front foot, extend our back foot up, and then just tip over into warrior three, suspending our body in space. And I'm just going to inhale and exhale, feeling energy moving out my heel, my head, the bottom foot, grounding, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. And we're coming back into a pyramid and just turning towards the front of our mat. Now, I think what we're going to do is we'll just wiggle our hips a little bit here, because we've had a lot of hip extension and pressure in our hip, and move our hips around gently with pleasure, like a child. And now we're going to, I'm going to invite you to widen your stance and tip over into a wide-legged forward fold here. Tip at the hips. And if you want to, you can use your blocks at the front of you to give you some extension here. Or you can just put your hands on the ground if that's comfortable for you. And you can walk your hands back between your legs, bending your elbows, and just trying to keep your back straight at this point if you can. And then you can just fold over and round your back and move into the pose as a kind of deep relaxation. And you can bend one knee and then straighten it, and bend the other knee and then straighten it. This you don't want to overstretch your groin, so come up if it's too much. And you're just moving back and forth here, straightening one leg and bending the other. Your knee is moving in the same direction as your foot. And here you can move your arms over towards one of your legs, stretching out the opposite leg, bending that one foot, and then you can move this the other way over towards the other leg, stretching out and straightening the opposite leg. And then coming back, we're going to once again stretch out in front of us, our arms straight, our back straight, and feel that full extension, our arms stretching out in front of us, our legs moving into the ground, and our tailbone and buttocks really feeling a lovely stretch. And we're going to walk our hands back in, put our hands on our waist, and tip back up. And we can wiggle our feet in again here. And come back to the center of the room. Okay, now I think we'll just do some movement in Warrior 2, Peaceful Warrior. So we're going to stand once again on the mat in Tadasana. Our arms go out to the side. Our legs move out into a wide stance, fairly wide stance. We turn our right foot out, our left foot in on the diagonal. We bend our knee, and we're just going to stay here for a moment in Warrior 2, really a strong pose, feeling the front foot at a 45-degree angle, and you can adjust as you deepen the pose. And then we're going to do a side angle, stretching out over top of your leg, and then you can drop your shoulder, your forearm onto your knee, or you can move back, put your hand behind your knee, your front foot, and then extend your arm up, and then over your ear, all the time rotating your chest up towards the ceiling and moving that front knee back. Feeling that lovely diagonal between the tip of your raised arm and your back heel and outer edge of your foot. And once again, we're going to just press into our feet, our front foot, and then tilt back up into Warrior 2. Turn our legs around and extend out the other direction into a lovely Warrior 2. And feeling Ahimsa, non-harming, leaking through you. Every pore of your body is feeling kindness, the gentle kindness that you direct towards yourself, the loving compassion, and the kindness that you extend out in your identification with others. And we feel a push and a pull here between the back and the front. You can actually move your body here and feel that you're actually in balance in the center of your body. Extending your arm out again, dropping your forearm to your knee or behind your hand to the floor or to a block, and extending your arm out. Now, we have different sides, and this side is much more demanding for me, and I find it quite hard to turn my chest up. So it's to my advantage to come up onto my forearm in this side angle, and then open my chest up to the sky. Breathing, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. And then tipping back up into our Warrior 2, and then going back into Peaceful Warrior. And just resting here. Once again, our chest is open. Our arm is a crescent over our head, framing our head. And we're going to tip back. And we're going to straighten our legs and wiggle our feet back in. Okay. So I think what we're going to do now is just do a few shoulder openings here, just to keep our juices flowing in our joints. And we're going to come to the front of our mat, and we're going to forward fold, and we can cross one leg over the other, and we can put our legs back down and just sit down onto our bum, however we manage to get there. We're going to do a little bit of a twist here. We're going to put our legs out in Dandasana or staff pose. And once again, you feel a lovely string that's attaching to the ceiling here in our head. And we feel the energy of our moving out our feet. And we can tilt a little bit here and move forward. You could have a belt here and hold on to it. Or you can, if you feel you can touch your toes. I'm trying to keep my back straight, and I can't go down very far with my back straight. So this is an exercise in humility, because you can't do as much as you think you can. And then I'm going to just bend over my legs. And in my case, you can hold on to a strap, or you can hold on to the outer edge of your feet and use your elbows to help you move forward and down. Now I'm going to invite you to come up and sit in Dandasana again. Raise your right knee up, bend your knee. You can lift it over your left thigh and plant your foot in the ground. You can keep this foot extended, the other foot extended if you like, or you can bend your leg in by your outer thigh, and you turn towards the raised knee here, lifting up, and using your back arm to give you some leverage to extend your chest open. And then you can drop your arm down and use that as a lever to turn and twist more. Or you can hold on to that knee and use that to bring you up and around. Much of yoga is about opposition and about multiplicity. That is, we may be moving in one direction, but we're also moving in another. We're twisting around, but we're also making sure we're moving up so that our spine is coiling like a beautiful serpent inside our body. And at the same time, we're grounding into the floor with our buttocks and our feet and our shins, and we're extending up. And now we're going to untwist and extend our legs out, shake them out. Then we're going to bend our left knee, lift it up, the foot over the opposite thigh. And I'm going to bend this leg. You can leave it out if you like. And I'm going to extend my arm out and then turn it around. So I'm turning, turning in the opposite direction, and then extending our legs out. Okay, now we're going to just turn around here, and we're going to curl back down vertebrae by vertebrae onto the ground. And here we'll bend our legs, press our feet into the ground and tip our tailbone up. We can have our palms planted on the mat, and then we can roll our tailbone back down. We're going to tip our tailbone up one more time, and then roll it back down. And this time we're going to press into the ground with our feet. We're going to tip our tailbone up, extend our knees towards the opposite wall, and lift our chest up. And we can hold on to the outer edges of the mat, or we can clasp our hands and rotate our shoulders under our body and feel the chest opening here in this bridge pose, a beautiful pose. Once again, your pelvis is lifting, your chest is open. This is a beautiful opportunity for inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And take a few more breaths on your own. Then extend your arms out and roll down. And we're just going to do this one last time, pressing our feet into the ground, lifting our pelvis and vertebrae by vertebrae, our back. We can clasp our hands, hold onto the mat, and then just breathe. And here we're going to do a little bit of an extension of this. We're going to bend our right knee, shoot our foot up into the air, straight above us, feel our pelvis lifting, our chest lifting, bend our knee, plant the foot again, and the same on the opposite side, bend the knee, extend the foot up, extending the pelvis up, the chest up, bend the knee, and drop it down. And then we're going to extend our arms out and go slowly vertebrae by vertebrae onto the mat again. We can clasp our knees and roll back and forth in a really restful pose here. And just rest. You can clasp the outer edge, put your hands between your knees, clasp the outer edge of your feet, and extend your feet up to the sky with your knees bent, shaking it out in a lovely happy baby pose, which is good for you. It's a kind of upside down squat, Malasana, that helps you open out your groin and your legs. Okay, we can put our feet down on the ground again with the knees bent, and we can just move our knees back and forth in what's called windshield wiper. If you want to have a little bit more of a stretch, you can lift one leg up, cross it over the other, move your hips, shift your hips to the side and drop your legs down, or you can just drop your legs down to one side. And you can look out to the opposite arm so that you have a lovely supine twist here. And once again, shift your hips back to the center, and you can drop your knees down to the side and looking in the opposite direction if you like. You can lift your leg out and use it as a hinge to add a little bit more of a twist, moving your knees in one direction and your gaze and your opposite arm in the other. And we're just resting here. You can feel your breath deepen here. We've had quite an adventurous class, and our body is feeling the opening, the breath. Our muscles are feeling the pleasure of having moved. And now we're going to just shift our hips back onto our back, and we can put our legs in a figure four, reach underneath to our thigh or our shin, and move our legs towards our body, our torso. This is a lovely extension of our of our glutes, the largest muscle in our body. It needs lots of exercise and stretching. And you can then shift your legs to the opposite, figure four, reaching between your knees and hold onto your shin or your thigh and press your legs towards your torso, giving that outer glute a very lovely stretch. Sometimes I feel my back crack here, so it can be a very good adjustment to your spine. And now untangle your legs, and you can put your knees down. If you like, you can put a bolster or pillows underneath your thighs. You can extend your legs out. You can, and this is a final relaxation, but you can do it however you like. You can put your feet up the wall. At final relaxation, you can sit if you like in a cross-legged position or whatever feels comfortable. You can extend your legs out and your arms. You can do a little bit of a body scan and feel the weight of you can roll your ankles around, stretch your toes, and then let your feet drop. You can stretch out through your heels and your shins and let your legs drop. And in this body scan, you can open and close your hands and let your hands drop. You can lift up your shoulders and lift them up to your ear and roll them back down and then let them drop. You can lift up your back so that your shoulder blades are underneath your body and let them drop. And you can feel your face, and you can feel the muscles in your face relaxing on your forehead. All of those lines that we accumulate over decades easing out. You can feel your tongue moving into your lower jaw, your teeth opening, your jaw relaxing as it opens slightly. And feel your breath moving more slowly and evenly. Your inhalation leading to your exhalation, one after another. And slowly you'll feel sensation return to your extremities, your toes and your fingers. You'll feel your head move from side to side. Your eyes might open slightly. You can move your body into whatever shape you like that will help you ease out of this beautiful relaxation. Or you can stay here and just rest. You could stay here all day and not let anything interrupt you. Just take a day and don't get off the floor. Why bother? Or you can roll to your side and you can sit up if you haven't played hooky from your day, you're sitting up almost and breathing easily. And I will just extend to you Ahimsa, loving kindness, peace, and Namaste. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Thank you for sharing this beautiful class.